I quiet quit years ago, and it was the best career decision I ever made. And before you click away thinking I'm lazy, I'm actually making more money now than when I was grinding 40-hour work weeks. I know what you're thinking, another person complaining about work, but hear me out. Because the 40-hour work week isn't designed to help you succeed. It's designed to keep you too tired to realize you're being underpaid, overworked, and just suppressed in general. And if you're feeling burnt out before you even hit 30, that's not a you problem, that's a system problem. If we look at the numbers, in the UK, the median home costs $290,000. That's 7.7 times the median salary of $37,600. In the US, it's even worse. The median home price is $416,900, which is 5 times the median household income. But here's the thing. Back in 1997, UK homes were only about 3.5 times earnings. In the US, it was similar in 1985. So in both countries, housing got twice as expensive relative to what we actually earn. And this isn't just about houses. If you're in the UK and trying to rent privately, you're spending at least 40% of your income on rent. Healthcare, education, groceries, everything just costs more. But wages have barely moved. We're making basically the same money our parents did, but it buys us half as much. Remember when I said I quiet quit? Let me tell you why. Because so many young adults now are experiencing burnout. In the UK specifically, 35% of workers aged 18 to 24 had to take time off work due to mental health issues caused by stress. Compare that to people over 55, where it's only 15%. We're burning out at twice the rate of older generations, and we haven't even hit our 30s yet. And it's not because we're weak or entitled or whatever's said about us on LinkedIn. It's because we graduated into a completely broken system. Student debt of 50,000 to 100,000 in the UK, or 200,000 to 300,000 in the US, before we even get our first proper paycheck. There's also something really interesting about the 40-hour work week that most people don't really realize. Studies show that most people are only productive for about 7 hours a day, max. 52% of people say they're most productive working under 7 hours daily, but we're stuck in offices for 8.7 hours on average. When you work over 60 hours a week, your productivity drops to less than 2/3 of what it was at 40 hours. You're literally getting less done by working more. And yet we're expected to always be available. Emails at 9 p.m, Slack messages on weekends. The boundaries between work and life have completely dissolved. 9 in 10 UK workers experienced high or extreme stress in the past year. 42% of workers overall are burnt out, the highest it's been since they started measuring this. And I know I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but I do think it's something not to be taken lightly. Then there's the impact it has on creativity. So most jobs, they're not designed for you to be creative or allow you to think independently. They're designed for you to follow orders, complete tasks, and not ask too many questions in the process. I realized early on that the 40-hour work week is structured to make you less creative. When you're exhausted from commuting, sitting in meaningless meetings, answering to 3 different managers, when do you actually have time to think, to innovate, to work on something that matters to you? The answer is you don't, and that's by design. The system wants workers, not thinkers. It wants people who are tired enough to stay compliant, but not so burnt out that they quit. You're stuck in this weird middle zone where you're just surviving and not thriving. And technology's made it worse, not better. We thought remote work and smartphones would give us more freedom. Instead, we're just expected to work all the time. The always-on culture that I've mentioned before. It actually means you never leave work. I saw a statistic that said 81% of remote workers check email outside work hours, including on weekends. The digital overload is real. We're drowning in notifications, messages, information, and companies wonder why we can't focus for 40 straight hours. Workers spend 2.35 hours a day on distractions. That's 32% of the workday. Alright, so I realize I've just spent the start of this video complaining. But here's what I actually did about it and what you can consider too. So when I quiet quit, I didn't actually quit my job. I just started setting boundaries. No emails after 6 p.m, no working on weekends unless it's an actual emergency. And you know what? My performance reviews didn't tank. Nobody even noticed because I was still getting all my work done in the hours I was actually working. And also, with that extra mental energy, I started a side hustle. Nothing crazy at first. It was just freelancing in my actual area of expertise. Companies that are testing 4-day work weeks are actually seeing productivity increases of 40%. Microsoft Japan saw this exact result. Employees are happier, less stressed, and they're getting the same amount of work done in 30 hours that they used to do in 40. I think because when you're not exhausted, you end up working smarter. When you have time to actually live your life, you show up better to your job. And I'm not saying that everyone can start a side hustle or it's that easy. But what I am saying, I think, is that you need to try to protect your time and energy because the current system is actively draining both. Some people are going the entrepreneurship route. Others are negotiating remote work or flexible schedules. In the UK especially, Gen Z is the most pro-union generation in decades. People are realizing collective action actually works. The key point is this. The 40-hour work week is a 100-year-old relic from the Industrial Revolution. We're nearly 10 times more productive than we were 75 years ago, but we're working the exact same hours for wages that don't keep up with basic living costs. So yes, I quiet quit. But really I just started treating my job like what it actually is. It's a transaction of my time for money. It's not my purpose. It's not my identity. It's just a job. And once I stopped letting work consume everything, I actually started building things that matter to me. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. What I am saying is start questioning a system that expects you to sacrifice your 20s, 30s, even your 40s for companies that would replace you in a week if they needed to. Remember how I said I'm making more money now? That's because I used the time and energy I got back from setting boundaries to actually investing in myself. Not in working harder, but in working smarter. So the 40-hour work week isn't failing you. It's working exactly as designed, to keep you too tired to realize there's another way. My advice? Don't let it. Drop a comment below if you've ever felt burnt out or what your experiences have been in this area. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.